orthomarketing.com. 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.
Well, hello everybody out there in podcast land. This is Dean Steinman from Ortho Marketing. And guess what? We are back. Another awesome podcast for you. So, of course, we like to have some fun here. We were all about in the smile business. We're making people smile. Hopefully, a couple of people just smiled. And I'm smiling because I have one of my favorite people in the whole entire orthodontic world and even the whole entire super world here with us back again to talk about consulting, your practice, and helping you get your practice to the next level. I have Shelly Bostrom here, who is the founder, owner of Align My Practice, and she's awesome. And we're
thanks,
going to talk a little bit. My pleasure. So we're going to talk a little bit today, just basic Q&A about things going on in the industry. And Shirley's going to answer just a few basic questions that I can constantly hear on people's minds. All right. So Shelly, first off, how are you today, my dear?
I'm great. How are you, Dean? Thanks again so much for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for joining it. I love having you up aboard. We've had done several times before, and we're doing quite a lot moving forward. So I'm excited to have you on. So
me as well.
Just people who haven't heard you before, which I doubt they haven't, why don't you give you a quick little background about Shelly and the Align My Practice?
Oh, thanks. Yes, so I am Shelly, owner and founder of Align My Practice. Orthodontic practice consulting. However, I do also work with GP practices and pedo practices as well. I really do have a passion for airway focused orthodontics. And it really is just my passion to work with doctors, practice managers, TCs, and the rest of the team with just being successful in their role and growing their practice and helping with operations and systems. So a little bit of everything.
Awesome. Well, you've come in and consulted with many of our clients, and I've only heard just incredible things and results from what you do. So I'm very excited to have you aboard again and to be working with you. So we're going to jump right in. So I'll ask you a few questions, and these are questions that across the board I'm hearing from a lot of our practices. Maybe you can educate our listeners out there on it here. So right now, let's talk about same day starts. Okay. You've got somebody shows up for a consult, okay, and ideally, you want to get them sitting there in a chair. Don't let them leave. So what is the ideal way to get somebody to start right there? Because if they get up and leave, the odds of them starting probably go down quite a bit.
Yes, so they do.
You got somebody right there. How do you harness the power of same day starts?
Yes.
And maybe 2 or 3 things somebody could do if they do a consult, or if they're a TC or TC's listening, or they want to tell their TC, what's 2 things they could do today?
Right. So yes, same day starts is everything. It's super powerful. And as you mentioned, Dean, when that prospective patient walks out the door and they haven't signed contracts, they haven't done their initial records, or perhaps haven't even scheduled that, records appointment to get started, the percentage of that patient starting drops by nearly 20%. So, of course, if it's a same day start, it's 100% conversion, and that's what we want. And one thing that I think that TCs sometimes struggle with is that they feel like they really need to sell the patient treatment, and that makes them uncomfortable. But the patient wants to be sold. The patient researched you. They called your office. They showed up, hopefully. They're sitting in your chair. They want to be sold. So there's a couple different things. One of the things that I find that's very, very effective is I do encourage all of my TCs to make a welcome call the night before. And that's a great opportunity for that TC to start building the relationship with the patient and ask a lot of questions. It's important for you to know what that patient's chief concerns are, so that when they come in for their consultation, both you and the doctor are addressing their concerns. Find out if they've gone to another consultation. Did that orthodontist recommend extractions? Do they not want to do extractions? Maybe they don't want to do clear aligners. Maybe they want to do traditional braces. So finding out what their concerns are just to make sure that that is presented. The doctor's going to have their recommended treatment, of course, but if that patient is just really concerned because the two front teeth are overlapping, it's important to make sure that that's addressed in that presentation. So it's my goal to help my treatment coordinators with getting that information so that you can check all the boxes for them. And so that's one, is asking questions, knowing what the chief concerns is. Second is I do like offering some sort of same day start incentive, and it can be tiny. It could be $50. It could be $100 off the initial payment. It could be a water pick. It can be something. But that, principle of scarcity, which helps the patient psychologically think, okay, if I don't say yes today, I'm going to lose out on this benefit. And it's not about being pushy. It's not about being salesy. You can have fun with it. When I was a TC, we would give a magic bullet, because when patients are in braces, they need smoothies and soft foods, and they can't have anything sticky, crunchy, chewy. So we would do a magic bullet, and I acted like Vanna White. Or you could have this magic bullet, and we have it in 3 colors, and you can get that today and have fun with it. You really want to, engage and be, playful with your patients. And thirdly, I will say, which just creating an ease of purchase. So we're in kind of a tough economy right now, and a lot of doctors, a lot of my clients think that you need to collect 25% for that initial payment, and it's not necessary. And nobody else is doing that. And everybody's really worried about getting their, clear aligner lab fee paid up front. And I really try to encourage the doctors to really create an ease of purchase, be flexible. You can do pay in full discounts with credit card or cash or check, but most of my clients do in-house financing. They don't charge any interest, fees, or additional charges, but see what the patient's comfortable with. And you really want to have that no problem attitude. Here's an example. If you paid $900 up front, your monthly payments would be XYZ for X amount of months. But if that doesn't work for you, no problem. You want to make a lower initial payment? No problem. You want to stretch out your terms a couple of months? No problem. You really want to work with them on the financials, because if you don't, somebody else will.
This podcast is sponsored by OrthoMarketing.com. Hey, you're an orthodontist or dentist looking to give your practice the competitive edge it deserves? Well, look no further than Ortho Marketing. Ortho Marketing is the dentist and orthodontist choice for digital marketing. At Ortho Marketing, we specialize in helping orthodontists and dentists just like you attract more new patients. Our team of experts knows the ins and outs of the dental and orthodontic industry, and we're here to help your practice shine. We're going to supercharge your online presence. We're going to optimize your website. We're going to harness the power of social media to connect you with the patients that you want. Say goodbye to empty chairs and say hello to a thriving practice. Choose Ortho Marketing today and watch your patient list grow. Visit orthomarketing.com and learn more and take the first steps towards your practice success. Ortho Marketing. It's not just our name, it's what we do. So let's talk about that as well as the next thing. The next topic is financial options. How many options should they give? Okay, because sometimes it's overwhelming. We have too many different options. If you go to the Cheesecake Factory, they have a 600-page menu. You kind of, if that puts, with the gang, it's twitching a bit here. So how many, options should they give, and how open should they be as far as, will you tell us what to do or what you want, or do you have certain parameters, or just tell us what you're willing to pay and blah, blah, blah. So first, how many different financial options should they, showcase or give them to and then, how flexible really should the practice be?
Great questions. I like 3 options. I have a couple clients that do use outside financing, something like Care Credit as a fourth option. If you have that and you find that that is something that's really popular in your area, then of course you don't want to take that away. You really want to make treatment affordable for everybody. So, in my neck of the woods, because I also do a lot of TC temping locally, Care Credit and third-party financing isn't big. Even when I was running a local practice here in Orange County, I think I had 2 patients on Care Credit. So I like to offer it, but I don't like to sell it necessarily because normally those third-party finance companies take a big chunk away from your profits. So I normally like to do an in-house payment plan option. I definitely don't do billing. I don't want to send statements to the patients every month. It's too time consuming and frustrating. So typically just the, in-house, you're going to pay this amount for the initial payment. We're going to leave a credit card on file. We're going to run your monthly payment. So that's typically, I think, the most popular with orthodontic treatment, but I always like to start with the pay in full option and wait for their response. So we've got this great plan. We do offer pay in full options. If you did want to pay in full with, cash or a check, we're going to give you 5% off. How does that sound? And wait for their feedback before you offer the other options. Because that's my, if I don't have to worry about posting charges every month and, the credit card expired and you need to reach out to the patient, I think that's the best option. So I start off with that option. How does that sound? Oh, I don't know if I can do that. I, don't have my checkbook with me today. Okay, no problem. We also, if you've got a credit card you want to earn some, points on, we do offer 3% for pay in full with credit card. How does that sound? Get their feedback. And then you can go into, well, we have this other wonderful option. A lot of our patients enjoy this benefit also. We can finance it for you. We're not going to run your credit. We're not going to charge you any fees. And here's what that could look like. If you did, like I said, $900 initial payment, then you've got 24 payments of $300 a month. And how does that sound? And then you kind of just go from there. So I like 3, but maybe 4. You definitely you don't want to have too many options because they might feel a little overwhelmed. You want to keep it pretty simple.
I agree. So, when you said, here's a quick little sales tip for people, and you mentioned first person in a negotiation to speak loses. So when you're talking and you give the price and you say stop and wait, how long should they just sit there and quiet and wait for somebody to respond before they say something? Because the first person who opens their mouth generally loses. When it comes to negotiation. So realistically, when they put it out there, they should close their mouth and in their head count to what before they say, "How does that sound?" or "What do you think?" So how long should they keep their mouth closed before they say they fold?
Not too long, because I think if you do let that silence go on too long, it can be uncomfortable. That's what you don't want for the patient. You don't want them to feel like they're being pigeonholed into, answering. You can normally, if you're, I try to teach my TCs to be a sleuth. And so you really need to be in tune with their body language and their expressions and if they're tensing up. So I think, again, your goal is to build that trust and that relationship with the patient. So you'll know within even a second or two if that's not a comfortable option for them. And you definitely don't want them to feel bad that they maybe can't make a cash payment that day. So you really just want to say, no problem. We've got this option. We've got this option. So I think just be really intuitive to them, their facial expressions and their body language, and don't let the silence go on for too long.
Well, this is great information. Do you have any resources that a TC should maybe read, like a book on sales or this or that, or keep up to date? I mean, I still read How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie, that was written over almost 80 years ago. It's still relevant, and it still is a great resource. Is there, do you have any particular, books or resources that is your go-to that you think are just great for people to just brush up on their salesmanship, because that's what this is. At TC, you're in sales. So in order to keep up to date and come up with new ways to, be a good salesperson, do you have any suggestions?
I have a favorite that has really helped me to be really successful in my roles. And it's Dr. Cialdini's Principle of Influence. And I do teach that a lot to my clients when I'm doing my new patient experience, all team training. And then I take bits and pieces of it for my other courses because I do really believe in it so much. And it's really learning about the patient psychology and ethically persuading them to buy your service. And it can really be applied to any different industry. So yes, I would definitely read it. He has 6 principles of influence, and a couple years ago added a 7th principle. I don't want to give them all away because I really would encourage everybody to go and pick up that book. It's pretty fascinating, and again, it's helped me be really successful in my different roles that I've had within my career.
Terrific! Such a great resource. And again, you'll see it in the link below, some details on it, and maybe a link to Amazon to buy it or what have you. So, Shelley, thanks so much. This is a couple of great tips. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
If somebody wants to get more information, reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do so?
You can go to my website, and it's www.alignmypractice.com. I'm on all the social media platforms as well, so you can always message me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, or YouTube. I'm sure you won't have any trouble finding me.
By the way, it's a beautiful website, by the way. I don't know who built it for you.
I don't
I highly
know.
recommend that.
You might have to check that out. It's beautiful.
See who built it. Well, Shelley, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Everybody out there in podcast land, thank you so much for listening.
Of course.
You're a lot more from us and a lot more from Shelley down the road. This is basically a little Q&A here, and hopefully you're going to get some good tips out of it. So, Shelley, thanks so much. Everybody out in podcast land, thanks for listening, watching, and be safe.
Bye.
OrthoMarketing.com. 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.